Hello everyone, welcome to a video where I show you how to optimize your Marvel Rivals for PC to get to the max FPS that your system can possibly reach. This is all in-game, this is no mods, no scripts, nothing outside of the game other than a little something that I will mention at the end of the video, but that is just the regular NVIDIA drivers that you have to update. But yes, let's get into it. So as you can probably already tell, the resolution of this video is a little bit lower than the normal video that I post because I'm actually running this game on a very low resolution. So I'm going to show you my settings now. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is open up your settings, and here it'll open you up at the display tab. And then basically you're going to want to copy everything more or less like mine and then make your own tweaks and adjustments to it. So we're going to start off with the resolution, which I placed it on the lowest that I possibly could, which is 1280 by 720. It isn't necessarily stretched, it does feel like it a little bit, so if you're like a Counter-Strike player that wants like stretched res, I guess this is the closest that you're going to come to that. So I lowered the resolution, and then the anti-aliasing and super resolution type, I put that on TAAU. You can put that on NVIDIA DLSS, but I noticed that the NVIDIA DLSS kind of lowers my frames a little bit, and I figured out that TAAU is the best for my PC. The render scaling, you could lower this for much worse graphics and much better performance, but I do not suggest doing that unless you're on a really low-end system. So don't mess around with the render scaling. Frame generation mode, I placed this on AMD FSR3 frame generation because I have an AMD chip, so this is an available option for me. That does turn out to actually help increase your frames and make it more stable. So I do suggest turning on frame generation mode if you have that option available. If not, you can just keep it off. Next, we've got the low latency mode, which is on NVIDIA Reflex low latency. This helps a little bit with the in-game like image delay and frame generation, everything. Basically, it just helps increase your FPS a little bit, at least from my experience. So if NVIDIA Reflex low latency is available, you can turn it on. If not, you can just keep it off. And then we've got the brightest, which is personal preference, limit FPS. I do suggest limiting FPS, even though in normal games I wouldn't do this. But I do suggest limiting your FPS and then placing a cap about 20 to like 20 frames lower than what you reach in game. So for example, to make it clear to you, if I play the game and I get 120 frames, I'm going to put this FPS cap on 100. Okay? If I get 140 frames, I'm going to put it on 120. I placed it on 130 because I tend to get like 170 frames or so, but it does drop very much in game, so I just placed it on around 130 FPS cap, and it seems to be working fine for me. For you, if you're on a lower end system or really trying to max out your FPS, I suggest placing it on like 100 FPS or so, just so that you know you can reach what you're looking for. Next thing, I enabled the show FPS and network stats just so I can see in game what my FPS and ping and everything is. VSync has to be disabled. No matter what type of video game you play, no matter what type of PC you're on, I always suggest turning off VSync no matter what game you play. Here it's already turned off for some reason, but that's good. And then over here we're coming to the graphics settings now. As you can see, my graphics quality is on a low. The global illumination is on a low as well. The reflection quality is on screen space reflections, which seems to be working best for me. The model detail is of course the details of the models. You can like keep that on medium if you want them to still look moderately good. Low doesn't look bad in my opinion, so I just keep it on low. Post-processing definitely has to be low. You can put that on medium too if you're on a decent system, but I suggest putting it on low. This kind of is like for like the jagged edges and everything. And then the shadow detail, low obviously. Texture detail is gonna go along with your model detail, so if you placed your model detail on medium, I suggest putting your texture detail on medium as well. The effects detail, all of the shit happening on the screen, I placed that on low, and then the foliage quality is also on low. That is about all of the options that I can give you for best FPS on your PC. This is all just the in-game settings. There are also a bunch of other tweaks that you can do, mods and scripts and stuff like that, but I don't suggest like messing around with anything like that. You don't want to get banned or anything. So all that I suggest doing is following these settings here. You play around with them in game and test them and adjust them to your liking, but this is just my personal settings that I have found out to work best for my system. I'm also running it on an SSD, so obviously the loading times are much faster than on an older hard drive. If you're playing this on an older hard drive, I definitely do suggest putting it on an SSD. And another thing that I quickly want to mention is that I highly suggest updating your graphic drivers. I'm not sure what graphics card you have. Might have an RX or an NVIDIA or something. Just make sure that you find out what graphics card you have. Go into your search engine like Google or Bing or whatever the hell you use. Type in your graphics cards like specifications, and then just type in the drivers as well. And then hopefully it should take you to a site that'll give you the latest drivers for your graphics card. Go ahead and download and install that and update your graphics drivers. That is something very important that a lot of people tend to forget, including myself. So this is quite a little bit of a reminder for me as well in the future. But yes, definitely do upgrade your graphics drivers, update them, and yeah, basically change everything like I did in game. And hopefully this helped some of you out there. If it did, please do leave a like and comment down below. I make a lot of Marvel Rivals videos, so if you're interested in that, please do subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you all again in the next video. Peace out.